Wednesday, we had actually started off with a new segment, and that was given by the module 3, which was primarily defined as the angle modulation. Okay, so if you remember, this was the angle modulation, and I told you that that's a very important topic in a way, because this is the advancement from the conventional AM method to that of the PM, or phase modulation or frequency modulation. And as I told you that the phase and the frequency modulation both are under the umbrella of angle modulation. And angle modulation, here the term angle is actually a kind of an parameter or a constraint or an argument for that matter. So either like based on certain criteria, we will interchangeably using the phase modulation or frequency modulation as and when it is required. And one of the basic need to why we are going forward with angle modulation was that in AM, the primary problem is that it is the completely modulation based on the amplitude of the carrier, where the amplitude of the carrier varies with respect to the message signal. But it has been observed that either in wired connection or a wireless scenario, like whenever you're transmitting the signal actually, the amplitude of the signal, if it gets varied or if it gets diminished or deterioration if happens with the amplitude, then that will be a really big loss with respect to the signal's quality. And that is where the amplitude modulation fails to give us a very satisfactory throughput. Okay, so that is where the term of angle modulation has come in, where it can be used for radio broadcasting, TV broadcasting, two-way radio communication, even some cellular radio transmission. So all this basic structuring is done with respect to this particular scheme. Okay, in fact, you will observe that like in the fourth module onward, we will discuss the digital modulation also. In there, you will find that the same this angle, like this amplitude, phase, and the frequency, this will be again used in digital mode as well. And even there also you will find that the phase modulation, or the PSK we call it there, the phase modulation and the frequency modulation, or FSK we call it there, in digital domain, both of them plays a very important role in comparison to ASK, which is amplitude modulation in digital mode. Okay, so in a way, amplitude should not be taken like it should not change that abruptly like in amplitude modulation. So that was the main reason why we had why we are using it. So based on that, I had just started off with this, that if I define a generic equation of angle modulated signal, where ST is the modulated signal, which is given by the carrier amplitude, which remains constant for all this while, because we are not focusing on the amplitude change of the carrier by any means, because we are focusing only on angle modulation. And then we have a cos of theta t, where this theta t is a very important argument, and that argument can be, as I said, interchangeably can be used with respect to PM or FM. And as I told you that this PM expression, if I for example, if I want to use it in terms of PM expression, okay, so then we will have in a scenario something of this nature, where you can observe that this particular omega ct, okay, this particular omega ct, happens to be the base unmodulated carrier frequency, where this theta prime t that you are looking at, okay, so this happens to be a function of the amplitude of the message signal. Okay, so this is basically where it is varying in the first phase. Okay, so that is basically where the phase change will be incorporated. Now, what exactly is this theta t? Okay, so that maybe I'll explain from that point onwards, because the understanding of that is important. So let us just theoretically what it means actually, that theta t, okay, the variation of theta t, the variation of theta t, okay, is basically okay, uh, uh, is actually a change. Okay, it's basically a change, I would say this way, over time. Okay, So what does that mean? Like for example, if I happens to just have a very tentative idea that this is my theta factor and this is my time factor, suppose. So what I mean is that at some point t, okay, at some point t, when the argument happens to be theta of t, okay, this goes to a change. Okay, suppose there is a change somewhere over here, and this is my t plus del t. Okay, so for a del t is a very fraction of a time, okay, for which the theta has also changed, and the argument now stands as theta t plus del t. So if this is the scenario that we are looking at, so you can observe that this is basically a rate of change that we are actually observing. If you closely observe that this is a rate of change with respect to time that we are looking at. All right, so this theta t changes by around the 2 pi radian, then we can say that there is a complete oscillation that has occurred. Something of this nature. Don't need to focus much on that, but ideally what I mean is that this argument, the theta t that we are looking at, needs to be taken care of. So for example, suppose it is if I represent this ideally in terms of the frequency, so this omega, okay, this should something like this, it will be referred at like 2 pi f delta t. Suppose this is with respect to this small little change that has happened. Okay, so this omega will be given something like theta of t plus del t minus theta of t, okay, divided by del of t. Okay, so this will be the fractional change in the frequency that we are going to observe. So this is ideally the just I wanted to give you the understanding about the parameter, the argument for that matter. Okay, so this is an angular argument, and it stands for both frequency as well as phase as well. So in this case, it is looking at something like a frequency change or a rate of change that is going to happen. Okay, so now in FM, what happens that ideally that as there are infinite train of signals, okay, infinite train of signals in amplitude modulation, you have seen that it's basically a cosine function. It's a sine function or a cosine function. Okay, so it will have constant amplitude, frequency, phase for multiple like infinite trains of sinusoid. Now for amplitude, it is fine, but if I look into the changes of all those infinite number of sinusoid, it will be really difficult. Like how much small frequency change like this del t has happened for infinite number of sinusoids, it's impossible to calculate. Okay, so in order to take care of that, what usually which was engineered is that we need to find out what is called as the instantaneous frequency. Okay, this is something new, instantaneous frequency. So instantaneous frequency is used instead of the conventional frequency because in almost all the signal that we are looking into up till this point for the AM as well, that they are consisting of infinite number of signals. Okay, and for infinite number of signals, the change in over the frequency and phase, whatever, is very difficult. It's impossible, to be honest. We cannot figure out how much has changed, how much is the rate of change on the frequency. So in that way, the instantaneous frequency needs to be calculated, which means that we will always have a limiting condition like this, something like this. Okay, f of del t. Okay, so this means that something of this nature, that when t tends to 0, that is very small, infinitely small is t, what is the variation of f delta t? So this f delta t we are talking about. So if I happens to write this once again, so limit tends to t tends to 0, this is in bracket theta t plus del t minus theta of t divided by 2 pi del t, because we are looking at fi. Okay, so that's why the 2 pi has come in over here. It was same here. This omega that we have written, no, this we are actually defining as 2 pi fi. Okay, so what was this omega? This was basically the rate, the change that was happening, the rate of change of theta that was happening. We are discussing the frequency modulation, and for that we require the instantaneous change in the frequency of the signal, because there are infinite number of signals which are also going in the same way. So we will take care of the instantaneous frequency change of the signal, which is kind of a cumulative value of the change of the frequency that is happening. All right, because again, remember that we are looking at the frequency portion of the signal and the change that it has with respect to the message signal. So if we are representing this from the theory we know from mathematical computation, we can write it this way. So this limit LT tends to 0 and all this thing will sum up to ddt of theta t. I know some of you might be having issues with understanding this, but this comes very directly from the calculation, and we won't meet this at some time later as well. So don't get frightened or anything of that sort. So this part, this ddt of theta t, the portion that we are looking at, this is basically called as the rate of change of angle. Okay, so we have defined it that fi, or the instantaneous, so if I t to be honest, so the instantaneous frequency that is given by the rate of change of angle, okay, of the signal. And if we can get hold of that, we can find out what is fi. Now, why do I need fi? Because finally we can write, like for example, for fm, fi t. So in general, what we can write, that the carrier frequency was already there, fc plus kf into x of t. So please make a note of this particular equation, that the instantaneous, we are not going to use all this tricky trigonometry over here. What we are simplifying it a little bit, that we would consider the instantaneous carrier frequency or instantaneous frequency is as FIT as the fundamental or unmodulated carrier. So this is, we call it the unmodulated carrier frequency. So this is basically the base frequency at which we are working. So this eventually, which means that when xt is equal to 0, when there is no baseband signal, whatever be the carrier signal that you are having, so that is fc. This kfxt, the whole term that you are looking at, this is called as frequency sensitivity, okay, given in hertz per volt as the unit. So this kf into xt, xt is nothing but the baseband signal. We had, I think we had defined it somewhere. Is it? No, we have not defined it here. So xt is basically the baseband signal that we are looking at. All right. So this portion fi t plus fc plus kf. Okay. So this ideally will help us in finding out the frequency. Now, if I know this frequency, what ideally happens is you just check that if I go back to this particular equation, 1 by 2 pi, I'm just writing this equation, okay, once again. So this d theta t by ddt. So this is what we have written. Okay, this was equal to f of I. All right, f of it, like this. So you can observe that what we are actually trying to find out is, if I go back to the previous day's lecture, that we want to figure out what is this theta. What is this theta? So for frequency modulation, what we have found out is fi, which is the instantaneous frequency, and we have related that instantaneous frequency with an angular argument, that is d theta dt 1 by 2 pi. Right. So what now we are going to do, we are just going to substitute the same. So this is equal to fc plus, sorry, fc plus. So we are just substituting it once again. So fc plus, sorry. So fc plus kf x of t. All right. So this we have just written it over here. We are just substituting. Now we multiply both sides by 2 pi. So d dt theta of t is equal to 2 pi fc plus 2 pi kf x of t. All right. With a few more integration, you can observe that we can easily write that theta t is nothing but 2 pi fc t, okay, because dt will come over here and we integrate on both sides. So plus 2 pi kf integration x of t 0 to t. Now again, don't get scared by any means by looking at this. Basically, what I mean over here with this integration is, so this was DDT. So I think from the very fundamental knowledge of your maths, you can understand that why it is an integration. It's differentiation over here. So when we want to find out theta t, the only thing is that we have to integrate over time. So that is what we have done. So this integration is required as FITs are constantly changing over time. Okay, so FIT is actually constantly changing over dt. So that is a changing over time. So definitely we have to integrate over the time period 0 to t. So this I think those who are aware of the integration and how integration happens is basically a summation. Integration is nothing but a summation between some two extreme ends. So the same thing is over happening because instantaneous frequency we have calculated as a del t, as a factor of del t. Understand this carefully. So that del t, it means that there is a change in constant change of the frequency with respect to the time. So here the time is factor is 0 to t over which the integral is observed. So what we can do, we can simply write finally that st, okay, for st, that is this equation, the one that we had written over here, ec cos of theta t. So let me write it once again, st ec cos of theta t. So this was a generic equation. Now we have found an expression of theta t. So we will substitute over here. So ec cos of 2 pi fct plus 2 pi kf integration x of t 0 to t. So this will be the expression of an FM wave. So this will be an expression of FM. So again, just to repeat once again what we are trying to do, if I go back to previous day's lecture, we have observed that this is the basic general equation for an angle modulated signal. Now the main purpose of all of this AM of PM as well as for FM is to find out what is this theta t or the argument, angular argument, what we are looking at. All right. So in order to do that for FM, since we are going to start with FM and we are going to start with it, we have observed that this to understand this theta t, that what exactly is the angular argument. So this angular argument ideally is a rate of change of either frequency or in phase. Now, if I consider the frequency part of the signal, in case of our sinusoids, there are infinite number of sinusoids which can be present. All right. So in order to, if there are infinite number of sinusoids, we need to take care of the instantaneous frequency of the signal. So for that purpose, we have considered the instantaneous frequency FIT, and we have related it to a condition that when del t is very small, that is for a very small duration, we are like as if there is a change from A to B, but that A to B change is very small changes. And we are kind of summing it up that if the t is very small, then basically we are considering as if for a very small period, whatever the changes has happened, we have included all together for the calculation. All right, so that based on some of these fundamental concepts of maths, we actually have come across that FIT can be related to rate of change of angle with a 1 by 2 pi. Now, we also can write for FM that the carrier frequency or the unmodulated carrier frequency will remain as it is, and this frequency sensitivity is the factor which gets added up because it's a FM. I'll just tell you what happens when it's a PM also, although we will do PM sometime later, but at least we will introduce the term here. And then what we did, we just compared both these two and we came up with a generic idea, a generic expression of the final FM wave. Okay, so this is basically with respect to FM. Now suppose I want it to be with respect to PM. Okay, so what will happen again, the same thing that for PM we want to have the generic equation once again, which is EC cos of theta t. All right, so this is the generic equation that we have. So again for PM we need to find out what is this theta t, and eventually we will see that sometime later when we do it, this theta t can be expressed as 2 pi fct plus a simpler one kp into x. All right, so kp into x, no integration, nothing, because for phase we don't have that problem of that fi, that instantaneous frequency. So that is only specific to frequency deviation. So again, the same thing, this 2 pi fct that you are looking at, this is the angular argument when for unmodulated carrier. So modulated carrier, that is xt equals to 0. And this kp into xt, this again, as it is a phase modulation, we will call this as the phase sensitivity. Okay, this is called phase sensitivity, and this is given as a unit as radian per volt. All right, so it is a proportionately it changes in phase, because remember frequency is where FM is where the frequency of the signal is varying with respect to the message. Okay, and in PM it is proportionately changing with respect to the phase. The phase is changing with proportionate to the message signal. All right. So if I happens to drop in this theta t over here, then the final expression for PM should look like very simply ST equals EC cos of 2 pi FCT plus KP X. Simple as that. So this will be the generic PM wave. Although we are not going to discuss PM for the timing, we will be mostly focusing on FM. But this actually, we can conclude in a way that FM signal, okay, FM wave is actually a PM wave having a modulating signal which is integral of some nature. You can observe that if I compare these two equations, if I just happens to compare this equation, okay, just the one that I'm circulating, like making a mark here, or maybe I'll just write it down once again here. I'll write it S prime t. So this is EC cos of 2 pi FCT plus KF integration xt 0 to t dt. Okay, so this is my FM. Okay, just I'm writing it once again. So if you observe closely these two equations, it's almost the same, except that this particular segment, this particular segment is where it is different. Okay, so ideally for a frequency wave, if I want to generate a frequency wave, somewhere an integrator needs to be used. Okay, and on the other hand, if I give that integrator a differentiator, then basically we can generate the PM wave as well. So what I'm meaning is that suppose I have a modulating signal. Okay, so this is mod signal. Okay, this is the modulating wave, suppose x of t. Now, if suppose it goes to an integrator, okay, if it goes to an integrator, so basically the output of this will be 0 to t x of t dt, right? So this part is where it is generating xt dt. Now we have a phase modulator, maybe a phase modulator. Okay, because this phase the rest of the things is very similar to the phase modulator, right? So that's why phase modulator, and we can have a carrier over here, which is EC cos of 2 pi FCT, because this is an unmodulated carrier. So the output of this can be the FM wave, because we are integrating this xt into the equation. On the other hand, if I just happens to show you the other way around, that we have an xt, let me take another color, xt. Okay, so this is my modulating signal once again. Okay, now it goes to suppose a differentiator. Okay, a differentiator, for example. So differentiator, what it will do? It will do something like ddx or ddt of x of t. Okay, so this it will do. So this, if it goes to a frequency modulator, and the frequency modulator is again fed with a basic 2 pi FCT or a basic carrier, then output of this should be a PM wave. So you can observe very clearly that in this two segment, although we have not discussed PM, but if I happens to know about the FM, we actually can tentatively understand what should be the PM wave also. And the advantage of this scheme is, of the angle modulation is, that if I have a PM wave, okay, or the generation of PM wave, we actually can generate FM wave if we are at all requiring one, and vice versa. So ideally, this is a very, very important advantage, because at times in amplitude modulation, what you have observed, that there were dedicated transmitters and receiver which were only focusing on generating the amplitude modulated signal. But here what you can do, that the same transmitter or receiver can be tweaked a little bit here and there. Okay, then at times it might be used for the PM wave generation, or at times it can be used for the FM signal generation as well. So that's a very important advantage leading forward to it, as one of the biggest advantage that we are having. So if you observe that in case of we are looking at the scenario of this nature. So for the second one, like since we are over here, so what it should be, you can observe that why it is we are calling this as a PM. So just see this carefully. So ST, okay, so ST should be as per our diagram, the block diagram. What I'm talking about, that why we are getting a PM wave. Okay, so you might be having a doubt that, sir, how we are getting it. So this will be nothing but 2 pi FCT plus 2 pi KF, because it's a frequency modulator. So KF, okay, integration of 0 to T, okay, DDT of X of T. Okay, so frequency modulator, so integration of XT. See, this is why I'm writing this, because it was integration XT. XT is the input to the frequency modulator. So here the input to the frequency modulator is this differentiate value. So what we have done, we are doing something like this. Internally, this is happening actually. So if you go on simplifying this, this will be ET cos 2 pi FCT plus 2 pi KF. Okay, and this will be nothing but X of, because this will be again a dt. There should be a dt somewhere over here. This should be a dt somewhere over here. Okay, so X of T. All right, so this will be the expression, and this Kp. If you look into closely, this Kp and all, this can be replaced as easily. So this is 2 pi FCT plus this 2 pi Kf that you are looking at now. This is replaced by Kp and Xt. So basically we are replaced Kp as 2 pi Kf. So this is a relationship that we are getting out of the constants that we are using. So you can observe that this equation, the equation number 3, if I consider, if I go a little bit high, this is same as that of this equation number 1. Understood what I'm trying to do? We are trying to generate a differentiator. Suppose we have built a differentiator and we are sending an xt over there, and the differentiated output is coming like this. But this happens to be the input to this frequency modulator. This is the input to the frequency modulator. Now, as far as the equation of frequency modulator, this is basically the generic equation. So we have kept everything same. Instead, this xt is not a xt, but a differentiated signal. So that's what I am substituting over here. Okay, and after all the calculation, we have found that this 2 pi kf, if it is expressed in terms of kp, if it is related to this constant of kp, then we actually are getting a PM wave as the output. All right, so that is how we actually are trying to mimic the scenario with respect to FM and PM interchangeably. We will also find later on that how they are being related. Okay, at times you will find that they are very easy to operate because of this nature. All right, so hopefully this part is clear to each and every one of you. Please let me know if you have any doubt. Please tell me. This understanding is very, very important. So that's why 30 odd people, you are all here. So anyone having any doubt with the process? We have started off with a theta t, or an argument, which we are calling as the angular argument. And in all this discussion, what we are trying to find out, that either in terms of PM or FM, we need to figure out what exactly is that theta t. Now for FM, the theta t comes out to be a little complex in nature, and it's an integral form of an xt. Whereas in case of PM, which we have not derived, but we will do it later, we have found that that is also a part of the equation. And we have also observed that using a block diagram, what we can observe clearly that they can be interchangeably used based on whether we are adding up an integrator or a differentiator in terms of the modulating signal, because you can see the carrier signal is unaffected. There is nothing that we are doing with the high frequency carrier. It is remaining as it is. It's just that the application of integral or integrator or a differentiator, we are actually changing the mode of communication. All right. Why I'm telling you the mode of communication? Just see this particular diagram and you might understand the thing. So this is basically this is with respect to FM modulation. All right. So what exactly you can observe here very clearly, this is my modulating signal. All right. So this is my modulating signal. Irrespective of what exactly it is, you just focus on this sinusoid, which is over here. Okay, let me also show you. So you can observe that ideally a portion that is rising over here. Okay, it's reaching somewhere a peak at this point. Then it's coming down till this point. Okay, that's why we are mentioning as decreasing. Okay, then again after this it is increasing like this. So there are two increment and one decrement that is being shown in this diagram. Now, if you observe clearly in the carrier wave, where the amplitude has remained constant, you can check here, the amplitude of the signal is constant throughout. So that is the fundamental difference between the amplitude modulation to that of the PM and FM or the angle modulation. So first thing is clear that the carrier amplitude has remained constant throughout. The only change that you can observe over here is that when the frequency is increasing, that is this part, when it is increasing, the signal that you are looking at over here, the carrier frequency which you are looking at over here, this has changed. Okay, the spacing between them, okay, the spacing between them has changed actually. On the other hand, when it is decreasing, you can see that the spacing again has changed over here. All right. So ideally what we mean is that whenever the frequency is high, we are generating a signal where the frequency is low or frequency is high, let it be. So I'll write it over here. When high frequency, that is the message I'm talking about. When the message signal is high, the carrier is high. Just imagine this way. When the message signal is low, the carrier is having a low frequency. Now you just imagine this way, because we are all in this digital age where we can recollect it very easily. Now suppose this high frequency that we are talking about of the message, a high message in digital is considered to be 1. I'm just trying to relate it so that you are able to understand it carefully. And if the low is considered to be 0, so basically you have 1 0 1 0 0 0 1. Suppose this is a particular stream of data that we are looking at, because digital data will be only ones and zeros, right? Hopefully all of you know that at least. Okay, ones and zeros. Now we have already defined this 1 as high. So maybe what will happen, that there will be a pulse which will be like high. Then we have a low. Okay, 0 is a low. What will happen? The low will come in over here. Again a 1 will have high, then again a 0, so low, again a 0, so low, again a 0, low, then again a 1, which is high. So the same thing is actually replicating over here. So based on this, you can see the pulses where 1 it is there is a high pulse. When there is 0, there is a low pulse. Based on this pulse counting movement, we actually can figure out what is the data being transferred. The same way in analog communication, which we are discussing now, the rate of or the change of these frequencies, the change of this F1 and F2 as we go along will indicate that what kind of a modulated data or what kind of a modulating signal is being transferred. So you can see this particular diagram also the same thing. You can observe that these high points B, all these low points, sorry, this 0 value A, C, E, G, you can see there is no change at all in the FM wave. They are all the same. A, C, G, A point, C point, E point, and G point. They are all the same. Nothing has changed. But when the signal approaches its positive peak at B, that is this point at positive peak at B, and also the F point. So the carrier frequency is increased to maximum as shown in closely spaced. You can clearly observe that the portion in this, yeah, you can clearly observe that this portion of the spectrum, this portion of the spectrum is much congested compared to the portion that we are looking at over here. So you can imagine this way, you can just think in this way that in digital, suppose this is my 1, this is my 1, and this is my 0. So that is how we are actually trying to relate the angle modulation. This 1 zeros will only come in with digital modulation. I'm not telling that these are ones and zeros. I'm just telling you to like figure out or just to physically understand that what exactly is how it is made. So you can observe that whenever there is a high, that either it should be high or either it should be low. So that mapping is done by a high frequency signal or a low frequency signal. And as and when this will happen, we will have a angle FM modulation. The same in the same diagram, suppose since we are almost comparing the PM as well, what will eventually happen? That there will be a phase reversal that will take place whenever there is a high to low and low to high. That's the only change that will happen. All right. So it means that something like suppose this is my it's difficult to draw actually over here. So suppose this is the diagram. Okay, so I'll just try to draw if possible. So this is one. So suppose I have a frequency, I have a carrier signal. So the carrier signal is something like this. Okay, now after this there is a reversal. That's the low frequency. So what will happen? There will be a phase reversal. So there will be some kind of phase reversal like this, and it will go like this till this point. Again there is up. So you can check again a phase reversal, something of this nature. So this point that you're looking at, okay, this point, this is where the phase changes will happen. Phase changes will take place. We'll discuss that sometime later when we do the phase modulations and all. All right. So that is ideally what this relationship between the signal and the transmission is all about. All right, now let us delve a little bit more, whatever the time we are having, with the FM modulation and its principles. Some of these parameters are equally important. So as we know already that FIT, okay, so the instantaneous frequency is given by FC plus KF xt. So this was a basic equation. Fi, remember this is Fi, instantaneous frequency we are talking about. Now suppose this FC plus KF xt, we are replacing the xt is nothing but the baseband signal. Okay, so this is the baseband signal, and we define this xt as just as we already have defined it in the previous module as well. So em cos of 2 pi fm t. So this is a basic modulating signal. All right, so we replace this by em cos of 2 pi fm t. Simple as that. All right, so equal to, we can write fc plus del f, very important, cos of 2 pi fm t, where please make a note, del f is called as the frequency deviation factor. Please make a note of this. It will be really important as we go along with our discussion. This is called as kf into em. So modulation, so the modulating signals a maximum amplitude, and kf is the frequency selectivity factor that comes from the equation itself. We can find out what is del f. This is called as a frequency deviation. Now what physically it means? Physically this means it represents the maximum departure, okay, of the instantaneous frequency f of it, okay, maximum departure of the instantaneous frequency fit of the carrier wave. So ideally we can also write that fi max, if I suppose I do it like this, something like this, this should be fc plus del f. Okay, so if suppose I know this del f, So it means that how much the frequency can deviate from its unmodulated carrier FC. It's kind of a range. It's kind of like what you are going to, because you can see del F is dependent on these two factors. Okay, so if suppose the KF is constant, okay, suppose you have a KF which is constant, then it will depend on the amplitude of the modulating signal, baseband signal. So suppose you have a 5-volt modulating signal, it will be different. If it is a 10-volt modulating signal, the value will be different. And based on that, the Fi or the instantaneous frequency will also vary. All right, so that is ideally what we can observe, and we can also see something very interesting, and we can also find out in that way that let us try to put this value in the equation itself, the FM equation that we already have derived. So let us try to write it once again. We'll finish it off on this note. So ET is equal to EC cos 2 pi FCT. We have just written it sometime back. 2 pi KF integration 0 to T x of t dt. So this was the basic equation, right? Now we substitute the xt over here as well. So EC cos of 2 pi FCT plus 2 pi KF integration 0 to T EM cos of omega mt dt. So this is what the xt, as we all know, we have just substituted over here. And after a certain period of calculation, what we can find out very easily that this is EC cos omega ct. 2 pi fc is replaced by omega ct. So this is already we know. So 2 pi kf divided by omega m em sine of omega mt, because it's an integration over time. For cos, integration will generate a sine. So this is sine equals EC cos omega ct plus this 2 omega m I'm replacing to 2 pi kf by 2 pi, okay, 2 pi fm, okay, em sine of omega mt. So we are deriving that, and we are observing that 2 pi gets cancelled. So EC cos of omega ct plus this kf by fm that you are looking at, right? Kf by fm. So this is again we can replace as del f. Okay, so this k, see here, we have just now defined that kf into em is equal to del f. We have just now defined it. So this we are replacing del f by fm sine of omega mt. Hopefully these steps are clear. Very simple steps, nothing much there. Now, but oh, sorry, this should be del f. Kf is del f, and this is fm. Sorry, this should be fm. It's wrong because fm was here. I mistook it. So this should be fm. All right. So this gives us the generic expression of the. This is the same generic expression for the fm as well, the one that we had already derived. All right. In that, please make a note that this KFEM is called as the maximum deviation. That's what we have defined. And this KM EM sine omega mt, if I keep it this way, that is this part. Please follow it with me. This whole thing that you are looking at, this is called as actually the deviation. So deviation, this is maximum deviation. Why? Because we are considering sine omega has the highest value, which is 1. So that's why it is the maximum deviation. This is called as maximum deviation. We have already defined that previously. So this is this. So finally, what we can obtain over here is that this del f by fm, this term, please make a note. This del f by fm is called as del f by fm is called as the modulation index. The same modulation index that we had, the term, at least the term is the same as that we had for the amplitude modulation. So in case of frequency modulation, it depends on the maximum deviation and the operating frequency or the modulating frequency. So this MF is similar to the AM one, where it was something like EM by EC. This was the modulation index. Same way, this is also same, but here it depends on the frequency of operation and the frequency that we are looking at. And the other two parameters, just before we end up our discussion with, another parameter is called as deviation ratio. Okay, please make a note of this. I'll come back to this once again next day. One is called as deviation ratio, or D. Okay, this is called as maximum deviation divided by the maximum modulating frequency. All right, so this is called as deviation ratio, maximum deviation by maximum modulating frequency of a particular scenario. And there is another called as percentage modulation, just like we had percentage modulation index as well. So this is given by actual frequency deviation to that of maximum allowed deviation. Okay, the actual frequency deviation by that of maximum allowed deviation. So anyway, we'll just wind up the session over here, and we'll come back and start off from this point onward, because this includes some of the numericals, and as you can observe that these parameters will be eventually very useful sometime later as well. So I'll stop the recording at this point. Thank you for your patience and being there with me. So we'll continue from this point on. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.